Hello again, this is Dr. Karmen Smith.
Hi, Lauren here, coming back for our third installment of this series. We're going to be finishing off the 5-pointed star, which is expressed in my mom's book. So getting on to that, what's the final points here for the whole practice to come together?
Well, the 5-pointed star, like we talked about, love, compassion, gratitude, and the next one is acceptance. Now, this is really hard for people because, especially during this time, they want to know. They want to know a lot of information. They want to know when it's going to end. They want to know. And in the other world that we came from, where before everything was shut down, we could say, yeah, well, I know this, and then because I know this, then point A happened or point B happened, or we know what the outcome is going to be. In this situation, we're put in a situation where we have to accept that we don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I understand, like, especially for me, I had a lot of, career aspirations going, a pseudo, like, very tight timetable, and obviously that kind of went out the window. And, for the first bit of the quarantine, I want to know, when's it going to end? What can I do? Or, can I keep doing, applying for this and all that kind of stuff? I want to know. And that's kind of kept me sane for a lot of my recent, life, is just knowing what's going to happen. So it is hard to not know what's going to happen when you're wondering how you're going to pay your bills, if you're on an apartment, how you're going to pay the apartment, how you're going to pay your mortgage, all that kind of stuff, your car insurance, your car bill, whatever. When you're going to go see your friends, or maybe you had a vacation plan, can you still do that? It's hard. The control went out the window, and it's not in our control. So yeah, learning to accept things, and in particular talking about this situation, accepting that we don't have control over that issue, that stuff, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm. So. And it is hard, Lauren, and accepting that we don't know. And I remember one of my favorite quotes came from Bruce Lee, where he said, "Be water, my friend," meaning that you go with the flow and don't try to restrict it, don't try to get all worked up, because water is just going to flow. And so the only way that you can kind of be with that is to be water yourself and kind of go with the flow, or like a bamboo that just bends in the wind instead of breaks. Because we don't want to have this situation and this stress break a person. What we want is to get into the flow of, yeah, I don't know, and that's okay that I don't know.
And I agree with that. I would say, especially like, and what I guess I want to get the point across is that you can accept that this is happening, or like, let's say you have a death of a family member, accept that happened, that this is the reality right now. Just fighting against it, denial, all that kind of stuff doesn't really gonna serve any purpose. But like I said, be water, be a bamboo, try and, like I said, accept what's happening and then move forward. However you can move forward. Whatever that can be different for each person, whatever they need to do. But fighting against, a raging river, is not going to happen.
Right. And if you find yourself like breaking, just know that it's probably an issue with acceptance. The other one is trust. Okay. So that's the other point of the 5-pointed star. So trusting that you've accepted the whole pandemic thing, and that it's kind of shut down the rest of the world, and probably a lot of things having to do with you, but you have to trust that it is going to be okay. Now, you might say, but how can I trust that? I can only tell you a story that when I was in my lowest point, and I was feeling very suicidal at one point in my life when I was younger, I was forced to be still and to be quiet within my head. And what came to me was basically a voice or an apparition that said, everything is going to be okay. Now, because I knew that it was supernatural or whatever, I trusted it. And when I trusted that voice, everything after that point, I would remember that it's going to be okay. And I just had a calm feeling that it was going to be okay. So can you, even though there's chaos around you, can you go to that quiet place within yourself, and you can meditate, you can do whatever you need to do, but we're in quarantine, so it might be a little easier now. Can you just be quiet enough for that feeling or that voice or whatever that's in each and every one of us to tell you, hey, it's going to be okay.
And honestly, sometimes you just have to tell yourself that, even if you don't believe it, kind of like that self-love, just tell yourself that it's going to be okay, that it's going to, and just, even if you don't believe it, just keep telling yourself that, keep telling yourself that, keep telling yourself that, and then one day it will be okay. This is not the first hardship to hit the earth. Like I said briefly in my first video when I introduced myself, I am a historian. Just knowing and trust me in saying that the earth has gone through a lot of hardships in our history, and we have survived them all, and we will survive this one. So trust in that fact, but just tell yourself that it's going to be okay. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to be okay. But I know it's hard to think that, with everything going on, with the shutdowns, pandemics, people want to open, all this division, whatever's going on, it's going to be okay.
That's a good point that you made about division. There's going to be some division going on. You're going to see it in your news, you're going to see it on the internet, you're going to see it with your friends, maybe even with your family.
And you're going to see it in yourself.
Yes. Go ahead and talk about that, division within yourself.
Well, you're going to have yourself that wants to not believe things. You're going to have a self that's going to doubt yourself. You're going to have a lot of conflict within yourself when this is going on. I know a lot of people in my generation have watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, the series. And if you want to watch Zuko's story and how he has divisions within himself of wanting to do the right thing and wanting to do what he believes society, his Fire Nation society, should want him to do. I believe everyone, for the most part, has watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you haven't, go on YouTube, maybe watch a compilation of Zuko's story. And it's going to showcase the division within himself, which is the division within all of us. And it's hard sometimes to do what you feel is the right thing, especially when we grow up in a society where that's not the norm. At least this is not the norm, way of thinking. So it's going to be hard. You're going to go against what you were societally taught, against what you feel should be right. And crossing that bridge. And it's a battle sometimes every day. It's not like you all of a sudden attain enlightenment and then you're just stuck there forever. It's a constant practice. This is why this is a practice to be better, to live better. And
to address those divisions as they come up within ourselves. And as we do that, we'll probably be more aware of the division outside of ourselves, and we'll be able to have compassion, right? And that's what kicks in that 5-pointed star. You're going to be able to practice the 5-pointed star all day, every day. Just remember, you want to stay in love, stay in self-love, see compassion, and practice compassion whenever you're looking at the news or talking with a friend or whoever it is, but also have compassion for yourself. Be grateful, and remember the 4 strands of gratitude are really strong, and they are the fast track to that loving mind. Acceptance instead of resistance is the only way to go. Be water, my friend. And then trust. Whenever you get that self-doubt or that doubt that things are not going to work out, just remember to trust that everything is going to be okay. And that's the 5-pointed star. When you're practicing those 5 things, your vibration gets higher, you're on the right radio station for change to happen, and you're visualizing what you want to see happen in the world and creating a world that is based on love instead of fear. And that's what we have the opportunity to do. That's why it's an exciting time.
Yes. So use this time of the pandemic to better yourself, to come up on a higher radio station, because we, at least for me, I don't want to go back to the same world that was before the pandemic in terms of fear, division, anxiety, stress, all that kind of stuff that was going on. I always want to do, even if I change just a tiny little bit to be a little bit better, then that should be worth it. So hopefully this helps, because I'll tell you right now, I play my video games, I'd watch a bunch of YouTube, I'll binge watch TV shows, I'll sleep a lot, all that kind of stuff. And it's not helping like you think it would. All it is a distraction. And it's a fun distraction, but it can't distract you from some of the things that need to happen in your life and in yourself to be better, to live a little better, to make this not an extremely stressful, anxiety-inducing time. I don't want to live like that. Hopefully you don't want to live like that. So let's, try some of these things. Again, it was love, compassion, gratitude, acceptance, and trust is the 5 points of the 5-point star. So how we use, that kind of stuff to just be a little bit better. Just be a little bit better, a little bit better. I'm not asking you to turn into Buddha. I'm just asking you to maybe get rid of a little bit of anxiety. If you had 1% less anxiety, if you had 1% less stress, during this whole time, isn't that a little worth it? I think so.
I think so too. And so we challenge everybody out there to try something different, try the 5-pointed star, and so we can all shine the light of hope, love to every part of our lives and every part of this world.
Yeah. We're calling it the 5-pointed star challenge, so let's do it.
Yay!